Welcome to Cisco Packet Tracer 5.3.9.3, backing up a Cisco router configuration to a TFTP server. The objective for this activity is to save the current running configuration to the startup configuration, and then we'll back up the configuration to a TFTP server. Having a backup allows you to perform rapid recovery after hardware or configuration errors. It's important to save the running configuration to the startup configuration to protect the configuration from being lost on a router reload due to a power outage. After the running configuration is saved to the startup configuration can be backed up to the TFTP server. So in this activity, the local server is configured as the TFTP server that you will use to store the configuration of the Cisco 1841 ISR. So first, we'll save the running configuration to the startup configuration. So in order to do this, we'll go into Customer PC and use the terminal emulation software to connect to the console of the customer Cisco 1841 ISR. So I'll go to Customer PC, go to Desktop, Terminal, hit OK, just hit Enter, Cisco as a password. Alright, so I'll just click Enable, Cisco again, and from here we're going to copy the running configuration to the startup configuration using 3 commands. So just type in copy, running, config, startup config, hit Enter, and then hit Enter again. So now we'll back up the startup configuration to the TFTP server. So we're going to test connectivity to the TFTP server by pinging 192.168.1.10 from customer router. Then we'll copy the startup configuration to the TFTP server as address 192.168.1.10. We'll leave the default name of customer router config. So from here, you just type in copy, startup, config, TFTP, hit Enter. 192.168.1.10. So from here we just hit Enter, and from the local server we'll click the config tab and review the TFTP service. We're going to verify that the customer router startup configuration is in the list. So you just go to config tab to review that, and we'll go to desktop. And now we're going to test the backend, the backed up configuration. So what we're going to do is erase the startup configuration file on the customer router. So what you do is type in erase, startup, config, Enter. Okay, now that that's done, we'll reload the customer router. So you just type in reload, hit Enter. Okay, and let that decompress. Then it's going to ask us to continue with configuration dialog after this is finished. So you just type in no. And that concludes Packet Tracer 5.3.9.3.